And of course, this is just a sentiment that we have all been expressing now for 20 months, a level of serious frustration, concern, sadness in what we have been witnessing happening in Gaza. And now he's starting to finally understand what we've all been trying to say, which is that the state of Israel has become rogue and they don't have any concern or regard for what the United States is saying, and they are trying to drag us into a war with Iran. This is something that they have been trying to do for decades now. The playbook that we're witnessing happening with Iran is, I call it a rinse and repeat. It is the same playbook that they used to get us to invade Iraq. So many people now have seen the video clip of war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu testifying in court, testifying in front of Congress, saying that he was sure that there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq and that we needed to invade.
No question whatsoever that Saddam is seeking and is working and is advancing towards the development of nuclear weapons. No question whatsoever. And there is no question that once he acquires it, history shifts immediately.
And that ultimately is something that led us to invade Iraq, where over 4,000 American troops died, not to mention the amount that has died in Afghanistan, not to mention the 22 veteran suicides a day, and those who are suffering PTSD and everything that comes with that, domestic violence, families being split apart. You know, what we're witnessing right now is the same playbook. This time, though, you know, we have social media, and so we can get that word out and educate people that this is exactly what he did before in dragging American troops into war. And I think because people are becoming aware of that, it's putting pressure on the Trump administration to say, we cannot go to war with Iran. We cannot have troops going to the Middle East. We cannot have these forever wars. You know, these are things he said during his campaign. And a lot of the MAGA constituents are looking to him now to say, were you lying to us? Were these campaign promises lied? After he violated international laws to bomb these nuclear sites in Iran, a lot of the constituents are wondering, how far are you willing to allow Israel to drag us into yet another war?
Yeah, no, totally. And I think you brought up a lot of good points. First of all, you know, whether it's Candace Owens or Megyn Kelly or Tucker Carlson or so many people, I saw DL Hughley the other day posted it. You know, so many people are posting the clips that go back to all the way to 1996 with Benjamin Netanyahu, and then his appearance at Congress in 2002, where he basically was crying wolf again about Saddam absolutely having weapons of mass destruction. And we all know how that turned out, you know. So I think people, because of social media, like you said, people are like, wait a minute, this guy has been parroting the same set of rhetoric and the same set of, quite frankly, lies from 1996 to 2002 to 2005 to 2012 and so on and so forth. And I think people are really calling it out. And then with President Trump, you know, it's been interesting when he bombed the 3 nuclear sites. You know, it's like you don't know what to believe and what not to believe. I mean, it seemed like Saturday we were going to war, Sunday everything was cool, Monday we were going to war, Tuesday everything was cool, and then who knows what's next. But there's a lot of, you know, just a lot of X factors. Let me ask you this, in terms of, are you in touch with a lot of people, I guess either that are currently serving or ex-military? Where does the military that you're networked with net out on the relationship with Israel?
Well, it's interesting, you know, that you asked that, because most of the conversations that I have been having with people who are still active duty or still working in the Department of Defense as contractors, for example, have really been shocked to see how long we have unsupported Israel to this point, especially considering the amount of evidence that has come forward, including back in January when the ICJ issued, you know, that this was plausible genocide, and that didn't deter our politicians. But I think what happened really put a lot of not only active duty military on alert, but also family members. And I have been getting messages, I mean, dozens and dozens of messages by both active duty members and family members asking, what can we do to try and ensure that we don't get deployed? We don't want to die for Israel. This is the overwhelming amount of, you know, rhetoric that I'm hearing right now, because the reality is that American citizens understand that Israel is dragging us into another war, and they don't want to die for Israel. They don't want American troops on the ground for Israel again. And so I've been trying to push out a lot of content and create content that is centered around informing, about the GI rights hotline and informing family members to contact your loved one's chain of command, because they don't have to do this. They don't have to deploy. They don't have to agree to deploy. There is a way that they can say, I don't agree with this and I don't want to participate in this. So I've been trying to really focus on that angle to educate people what they can do so that they don't die for it.
Want the full truth? Watch the full Deep Shallow Dive interview next. And hit subscribe if you're done with narratives and ready to call a spade a spade.